100 years after his death, Verdi's popularity is as strong as ever. Here in Parma, in Italy, every Tuesday sees the meeting of the 27 Club, so called because each member is named after one of Verdi's 27 operas. Gathering in an underground cave, they meet to sing, discuss and celebrate the great composer. This has to be one of the world's most exclusive private members' clubs, not least because you have to stomach a potent cocktail of kiwi, gin, vodka and prosecco at 9 o'clock in the morning. In memory of the great composer, even the drinks are green here.
Buongiorno, io sono il trovatore. Piacere.
Buongiorno, molto piacere, buongiorno. Rigoletto.
Buongiorno, Falstaff.
Buongiorno, Macbeth.
Macbeth?
Buongiorno. Buongiorno, la battaglia di Legnano.
With passion like this, it's no wonder you have to wait for someone to die to become a member. It's not just Parma that's home to a kind of Verdi mania. In Italy and beyond, this year has seen an explosion of Verdi festivity and performance, and there's scarcely an opera house in the world not celebrating his centenary. But if anyone knows how to commemorate Verdi, it's the Italians. A few miles away from Parma, in a provincial town, almost every street corner seems to resonate both with the sounds of famous operas and also cash registers. I'm standing here in the Piazza Verdi in Busseto, which is a small Italian town where Verdi spent most of his childhood, and he continued to return here right through his life. Not surprisingly, it's now absolutely covered in Verdiana, and it's become like a kind of shrine to the memory of the great composer.
Proseguendo, noi abbiamo qui dei cioccolati.
These are milk chocolates, which the maestro really liked.
Con tutti i nomi delle varie opere nella memoria del maestro.
This is a nougat cake made to an old recipe by Verdi's cook.
Abbiamo l'aceto balsamico.
This is the balsamic vinegar which Verdi dipped his cheese in.
Formaggio perché è particolarmente buono.
Questa invece è una torta tutta a base di cioccolato.
This chocolate cake was sent to Verdi by his publisher Ricordi for many years to remind him to finish his opera Otello.
This is the hat worn by Verdi, made especially for his centenary.
Biscotti antica ricetta verdiana del maestro Giuseppe Verdi.
These biscuits look like music scores, and the maestro dipped them in milk every morning.
Latte al mattino per fare colazione.
40, 50 e 100.
There's no doubt about the fact that Verdi understood marketing, and he would have understood aspects of what's going on in this centenary year. The Verdi bumper stickers, the Verdi pizzas, and those kind of things he probably would have disapproved of, but the spirit of it was something that he was involved in himself.
Verdi and Puccini particularly were very, very smart. I mean, long before MTV and getting records into the pop charts, they were industriously making sure that the cafe arrangements were done as soon as the orchestral scores were done, so that the cheering, hopeful cheering first night audience could go back into the squares and hear the tunes all over again and want to buy it and buy more tickets.
As Roger Parker and Cameron Mackintosh suggest, Verdi was an arch self-propagandist, placing himself at the very centre of the contemporary music scene. At a time when to hear music meant either going to a performance or playing it at home, he took full advantage of his status as a fashionable composer in order to market his own music.
I think a great composer writes for the moment, and that's the difference between a great composer and what I call a great tunesmith. They will work on the libretto and assimilate the story and the characters, and out of that will come the melody, but it's dramatic melody. And it's a dramatic melody that at its best will work completely for the dramatic situation and also have a life outside the show.
He was enormously keen on making a maximum impact with his audience, and this particularly on the first night, where the reputation of the opera would be solidified. Now, with Rigoletto, an interesting example of this is that the hit tune of the opera he knew would be La Donna Immobile, the canzone that the Duke sings in the final act. And so what he did was he forbade the tenor who was going to create the part from singing that tune anywhere, even in rehearsal, in order to preserve maximum impact for it in the first night. And certainly in the case of Rigoletto it worked. It was one of his greatest successes.